Hi, this is a short demonstration and introduction to the new version of the Lombard Press web application version 3. It's a rebuild of the Ruby on Rails version 2 app seen here, in an entirely React JavaScript application. So in this demo, I just want to give a kind of tour of the basic features and talk about some of the strengths of this in development application. So this is a JavaScript app, so anyone can run this on a static server. I'm calling this instance the SCTA reading room. It's a viewer designed to ingest SCTA data and display that. So here's a basic list of text collections. You can see that it uses an SCTA ID, right? And it responds to the data type and gives us a particular display. It's important to realize that this application doesn't have any text or images or data on its server. It simply knows how to request the data from the public SPARQL endpoint of the SCTA, and upon receiving that data, it then responds and provides a view. So as we move, we'll see this ID change, and we'll see the views change depending on the type of data that ID refers to. So let's look for an example text. This is one with the most amount of data, so I often use it as an example. And we can look at a basic text. And you can see that we've moved to a text, Lexio1, and it's given us the default view for that text. And this is pretty traditional display, right? We can move through the text and see and have a nice reading environment. But we can look at apparatus criticus variants within the text. We can look at footnotes, right? We can see the reference and the quote text. So some pretty traditional things there. But because each paragraph itself has an ID, and you see as I click on the paragraph number, the resource ID changes to not only the text, but the ID for the transcription of that text. We can see that paragraph situated within a larger text network. And because it's situated within that context, there are a lot of related pieces of data that we can bring into the view. So I'm just going to kind of give you a tour of those basic features as we move across. First thing is we immediately see the sibling or sibling manifestations of this paragraph. We have a critical text. We have a version of this text as it appears in the Reims manuscript, as it appears in the Sorbonne manuscript, as it appears in the St. Victor manuscript, and as it appears in the Vatican manuscript. And each paragraph, each ID can generate its own citation. So you see as we move, the sort of expression level transcription lists itself, but the manifestation information changes. So as we're in the Vatican manuscript, it tells us we're on folio 5R. As we move to the Sorbonne, it tells us we're on the Sorbonne manuscript, folio 2R. As we're in the Reims manuscript, it tells us we're on folio 1R. It tells us the transcription source for each as we move, right, making each of these dimensions of the text citable. And we have an explanation of citation practices here, color-coded with a clarification. And as we move, right, this through the paragraphs, it adjusts, and so on. So let's come back for a moment to the critical text, paragraph 4. And as we move across, we can see we have access to the images for each manifestation, right, for that particular conceptual spot. So even though all of these paragraphs appear on different pages in each manuscript, we're able to get to the exact same conceptual spot. We're able to get to the exact same conceptual spot by navigating this tree. We can bring this down here, compare two against each other. So we can look at one in the St. Victor and one in the Reims. We can look at this line by line, like this. And we can view a given manifestation in the main window, viewing the images on the side, and we can even view particular lines as we move through. As we move to paragraph 7, we get the main text changing, but we can see the individual lines. Okay. We're going to have access to the data source at each paragraph level. So here's the TEI transcription of just this paragraph. Okay. Pretty important here is the ability to make on-demand collations of each manifestation. So now that we're on a particular paragraph, we've requested the text of each, and we've generated an instantaneous collation. It also shows us texts that have been quoted in a particular paragraph. We can show the differences or hide the differences. And we can actually come back to the critical text for a moment and view that quotation in line like this. And without navigating away, we can see the Bible verse. And if we want to go directly to it, we can. And now we're looking at the text of the Bible verse, and all those features are available for the Bible verse itself. In fact, introducing us through the inverse relationship to all the other paragraphs that have quoted this same verse. So it's a discovery mechanism here. Right, and we can come back to the text we started on, viewing it here, and navigating back. We can leave comments, have a discussion about the text, even as we move through. We can have a comment that's targeted on each paragraph. Each paragraph reports where it is in the hierarchy, and we can navigate through the outline to particular paragraphs, like so. Finally, each text is searchable, so we can look for search results without navigating away. I'm going to look for all instances of faith. We can do fuzzy searches. We can say faith, hope, and love, but we don't know what order it's in, so let's get rid of that in space, and we can do, and then we can say within 10 words of each other and look for results here. So we're getting these, and we can quickly navigate to each of these paragraphs without navigating away from our search results. So this allows us to kind of see the context of our search results and move through them this way. Finally, we can just illustrate some of the increased power of these transferable IDs into different interfaces. So I can explore this ID in different views. Come over here to a different place. It gives me a different kind of collation view. I can explore this in a kind of graph view, taking the ID and using it in a new environment, and I can explore other connections in this way. So another one with perhaps more connections. Let's see if we have some other connections here. One where there's a quote, let's say. Go up to one where we know there's a quotation. We know there's a quotation here. And we know it quotes Matthew 22:40. So we can view this references. We can see that Matthew 22:40, and we can see if anyone else has cited Matthew 22:40. Right? And now we have 3 other paragraphs. We can take the IDs for these, add them in anywhere we want, like so. Come back to our application, and we should be able to directly access this. And now we're at this text, we again see Matthew 22:40, right? And we can come to Matthew 22:40 itself, and we can see all of these other texts that have quoted it. All right, these menus can be hidden. And see some of the features. We can expand it, focus, minimize, come back to a simple reading environment. All right, so those are a bunch of the features we're working on. There's more things that are involved. Finally, more things to be done. But finally, let me just emphasize the application should also help people really jettison the false binary between creating a digital and a print edition. When we separate data and presentation well, all of those are open to us. Print is just another presentation. So down here we can create a print service, and we can ask this to start generating a printed version of this. It's going to start generating that and cache the results. I come back to it, and we should have a print-generated text. And all of that same information is here available to each person in the desired view that they want. And this can be downloaded, do whatever you want to do with it. All right, so that's it for now. There's a lot more that we can look at, but I think that gives you a good overview of what's available, how you can use the application. Thanks for watching.